Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Today is a beautiful day, and we have an amazing treat in store for you. We have superstar Alan Smith, who will be providing his expired listing presentation inspired by Jackie Kravitz and Mike Ferry. It's a combo. And we have superstar Ron Poindexter, aka Mr. Excitement. That's my nickname for him. He will be the seller today. So, superstar Alan Smith, why don't you go ahead and give us some information about yourself, and then superstar Ron Poindexter provide us with some information about yourself, and then we'll get started with today's presentation.
I've been a realtor since 1985, been down here in South Florida since 2000. I was coached by the Mike Ferry organization, lastly with Jackie Kravitz, and she was my personal coach there, and then was with my personal coach when she was with her own organization. So that's about it.
You said 1985 or 1995?
85.
Oh,
Yeah. Mhm.
1985. Okay, so you've been in the game for quite some time.
Yeah, for the first 10 years, I basically just bought property for myself, and that was back in the old foreclosure days. So we were doing a lot of flips. So,
Hmm.
I did that for 10 years and I didn't really work with any public people. I got my license just so that I could get into the MLS. That was the days where the MLS was a phone book and you'd open up the pages and they had one little black and white photo of each house and that was all you got. And I used to, before that, I used to crawl into the dumpsters behind the real estate companies because they'd throw those books out every month when they get a new book. And so we crawl in the dumpster and get the book out and I did that for a while until I got caught crawling in dumpsters, and then I thought I'd get licensed. So I think I got a license in it was 85 or 86, something like that. But it wasn't really, until 95, 96 that started doing things for the public. And then obviously when we got here in Florida in 2000.
Okay, fantastic. That's an amazing story. And are you still receiving coaching from Jackie Kravitz?
Yeah, I still do some things with Jackie. I'm not a full I'm not a paid person, but yes, I still do some things with Jackie.
Okay, fantastic. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're really looking forward to today's presentation. I've been looking forward to it all week long, and I already know a lot of other people have been too. Thank you so much, superstar Alan Smith, superstar Ron Poindexter, aka Mr. Excitement.
Yeah. Well, Al and I, we have a very similar background. In fact, I'm surprised we never ran into each other. But I've been in since 1990, full-time agent, never done anything really else. I was coached by Mike Ferry from about 96 to 2009. And in 2009 there was a breakup, and I followed two of my coaches around, and but yeah, so we're real similar in the background. We know these scripts pretty much. So and we've been enjoying ourselves with Vulcan and the whole group that we have here and all the coaches that are involved. If you're here, you're in the right place. I mean, that's why Alan and I are still here, because this is the type of coaching that you got to learn to survive. You got to learn to create your own leads. And that's what we do here. So I'm excited.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I look at both of you, superstar Alan Smith and superstar Ron Poindexter, as being heavyweights in the industry, powerhouses in the industry. Both of you are lean, mean listing machines. And we are very, very grateful that you're here today. So, with that being said, superstar Alan Smith and superstar Ron Poindexter, take it away.
Okay, well, usually when I show up at a listing presentation, obviously knock on the door, meet the people. I know I do things probably a little differently than some people, but I ask them to show me the house in the eyes that, of a buyer. They know the house better than I do, so I ask them to show me around. I think Ron does the opposite. But if they haven't looked or they haven't received a pre-listing package, then I give it to them then and ask them to sit at the table or whatever, and then I take a look at the house on my own. But if they have, then I go ahead and take a look at the home. I come back, sit at the kitchen table, and then I have two copies of the listing contract. I keep one. I put the other one down on the table. I open it up to the last page where where the signature line is already highlighted, and I take a pin and I set that pin down, and then I start. So I guess we'll get going here with that. So, well, Ron, after taking a look around your home, I'm really excited to work with you on the sale of your home, and I'm very confident that I'll be able to sell your home quickly and for top market value. But before we get started, I want to assure you that my goal is to sell your home for the most money possible in the shortest amount of time and then close the transaction smoothly and with the least amount of frustration. And I'm assuming that'd be safe to say that's what you want as well, too, isn't it, Ron?
Well, of course. Yeah, I want a smooth transaction with the highest amount I can get out of this home and as fast as I can get it because
Absolutely.
I got to move on to Nashville. Like we talked before. So,
Absolutely. And we'll get that done for you. And I have to tell you, Ron, after seeing your home, I'm 100% confident that I can have your home sold within 60 days, maybe even inside of 30. But when I do that, will that cause you any problems?
well, of course not. I mean, that's what we want. But I noticed, you have like a 60-month contract. Well, if we're going to sell it that fast, let's just shorten it to 60 days.
Absolutely. And we can do just that. And we'll get to that here as we get going here, Ron. But first, did you have a chance to review that listing package I emailed to you?
Yes, I did. I looked it over and I looked it over again right before you came, and so I got some questions on it, but yeah, it looks nice.
Absolutely. So what questions would you have at this time? You have any questions about me or brokerage or what I do to get homes sold so quickly for the most amount of money right off the top?
Well, I think you can do the job, but I've kind of heard the same things from a lot of different agents. And, I do have two other agents I want to interview. One's, Tom Smith, I mentioned to you. He's from the area. It says, and I've met him a couple times. And I thought he'd be a real good fit for us, maybe. And the Krogan team, they say they're the top in the area. So I've got them to, after I want to meet with them after you. So
Great. Hey, absolutely. And you know what? I know that you told me about that when we were speaking on the phone, and I got some information for you that I think you'll be really excited about hearing. And in reviewing my notes, I wrote down a couple of very in-depth market analysis for your home, and I wrote down three important questions. The number one, do you absolutely have to sell your home, or do you have some alternatives, and can you do something else?
no, like I said before, when we talked, and I have to sell it. I mean, I have to move to Nashville. I have to be there, Alan, by the end of summer. So
Okay.
we don't have, that's not an option. We got to get it sold.
Well, that's good to hear, and we'll make sure we get that done for you, Ron. I can almost guarantee you that. Will you price your home to sell, or do you want to keep it on the market for a long time while prices continue to drop?
No, I don't want to lose any more money, but I need to, I need it to sell. So
Yeah.
I I feel I had it at $795. I feel that's a pretty good price.
hmm
And I still feel that way about it.
Good for you. I'm glad you do that. And we're going to review the market and show you exactly where all the prices in the homes are right now so that you fully understand exactly where we need to price and position your home in the market to get it sold within the time frame. Because, we could sell your home for $1 million if you wanted to wait long enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to do that, but I don't have the time. Yeah, I got to
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd love to sell your home for $1 million too, because as you know, I get paid on commission. So if we can sell your home for $1 million, I make more money, you make more money, and we all go around happy, right?
That sounds great. That would be
Hey,
great.
great. Well, based on everything that you've reviewed so far, our pre-listing package and whatsoever, do you want me to handle the sale for you at this time?
Well, I want to, I have a few questions, and I want to hear, like I said, what these other folks have to say, and then I'll make my decision tonight, and
Oh,
let everybody know.
absolutely. Well, that's great. Well, Ron, one of the things that we spoke about on the phone that I think is really important that you need to know is that I do things very differently than any other agent in Southwest Florida. We exclusively specialize in selling homes that other agents don't. And the marketing tools and the methods I use are very specialized and are simply light years ahead of any other agent in Southwest Florida. And I can assure you there's no one in town that does what I do. And, as a comparison, I put a comparison sheet in the back of that pre-listing package for you to take a look at. Did you take a look at that? Did you by chance take a look at that comparison sheet?
Well, I got lots of sheets that you gave me here, and I mean they're fancy. I'm not this fancy. I don't know. Does go one way, or does it go this way, or does it go this way?
I get you. I get you. Well, you said you went through it, so I'm pretty sure that you would have seen that one. There's the one on the back page that basically shows you all the advantages of working with the Smith Group over the normal agent in town. So my question to you is, do you know any other agent or brokerage that has more experience or expertise that can possibly give you better services or results at this time?
Well, no, I don't. I mean, I am impressed with you. You've been in the round. I've heard of you before. I was impressed, that you contacted me, and you have a lot of years experience, and I think you need that in this market. So I'm counting on that, that if we go with you, you can get this sold in that time frame, like you say.
Absolutely, Ron. And the biggest thing is while all the other agents are sitting around waiting for a selling agent like myself to bring them a buyer, I spend 100% of my time, money, and effort going out into the marketplace, finding buyers for my clients, just like you, who hire me to sell their home. My marketing works, Ron. And I have to tell you, I have a 98% sale rate with 0 expired saleable listings in years. But right now, I only have 2 openings for new clients, and I have several other appointments scheduled this week. So at the end of our meeting today, and after I answer all of your questions and you're 100% comfortable and confident, one of 3 things is going to happen. One, you'll have the opportunity to list your home with me. I have everything ready. I have all the documents. I have your photos, your video, your online marketing already ordered. I have an email blast going out to thousands of agents and buyers in our area who are actively looking for a home right now. And I've even called a few buyers that we personally have and let them know that I have a property that's coming on the market that may meet their needs. So we may be able to get it sold in the first week. Would that work for you?
Well, that'd be great. That'd be great if we can get it sold that quick.
And I've sold 3 homes in the last 90 days in less than a week. So maybe yours will be number 4.
All right.
Yeah, Ronnie, or number 2, you may reject the market and you may not decide to list your home with me. Or number 3, Ron, I got to tell you, I may decide that I can't take your listing. And either one of these 3 things are fine, Ron, because the only reason that I wouldn't take your listing is I'm an honest agent and I want to do what's only best for you. If I believe that the price or conditions that you need are not in line with the market and that just aren't going to work, I'll be the first to shake your hand and move on as friends, because I'd rather disappoint you now than 6 months from now when your home doesn't sell again. Because like I said at the beginning, I don't need your listing. I want to earn your business, and then I do want to earn the future business of your friends and family. Does that make sense to you?
Well, of course it does. And I can understand where you're coming from. I think that the home is in good shape. I think we talked about that on the walkthrough. It's in good shape. And I think that, pretty much price is where we need to agree on.
Right. Right.
So, comparing you to these other folks that are, if I decide to go with you, I mean, what do I do? Call them and just cancel, or,
Well, that's a good question, Ron, and we'll get to that when we get to that point, because, most of the time when I meet with folks like you that have these exact same questions, there really aren't, when we get down to the nuts and the bolts of things, it really isn't a question at the end. But, that was one of the questions I had for you was, have you already scheduled appointments with those other agents?
Yes. Yeah.
Super.
I talked to them, and there's been a few. I mean, what do you charge? That's what their main thing is. They're all offering me these discounts. Especially if you can find a realtor out in Nashville for me, they're asking a discount.
Absolutely. Well, you don't want a realtor working for you that's willing to work for free, do you? I mean, would you fly on an airplane where the pilot said, "Hey, I fly for free"?
Well, no, they just shut that airline down. But no, I expect you to earn something. In fact, I don't mind if you earn your full price if you do the job I need.
Absolutely.
But, some of these guys are saying that, they'll drop every month. There's all kinds. They have all these different programs. And to be honest, it's a little confusing to me, but
right. So, well, it's like this, a lot of these discount agents or agents that are willing to give away money on their fee, that's exactly how they get business. And my question to you is, do you want somebody that's going to give away their money and give away their business just to get your business? Is the exact way that they're going to operate when they have your listing and they're out there and they're fighting for the price that you want to get. You do want to get the most amount of money for your home, correct?
Yeah. I
Yeah, so
do.
if you're working with an agent who can't even stand up for, the money that they get paid, how do you think they're going to fight about the money that you want to get for your home?
Well, Alan, they're saying that they can charge this now because the other agent, they don't have to commit to anything on the other
Mhm.
agent's compensation, which I'm totally confused on. Um, and then, yeah, I guess they're going to pick up a referral if they send me out to a guy I use in Nashville. So
Absolutely.
what do what do
Well,
you do?
Ron, the good part about that is that we have agents all over the country, and I've got an agent already up in Nashville who we've already spoken to. So the nice thing about that is that when you list your home with us, I'll get you connected with them, and then we'll be able to seamlessly close this home and the home up there together. So it alleviates a lot of frustration because we don't want to get too many chefs in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, that's what I'd like is someone to start working on that part for me so that we can focus on getting this one and then it'll just be smooth. I don't want any
Well,
problems. I don't want any headaches. I just want to get to Nashville with as much money as I can. And hopefully that'll
absolutely.
be enough to get me what I need there. So,
Well, then you'd be happy to know, Ron, that we've already done that for you, and I've already made a connection up in Nashville. I had a great agent up there. He does a great job, and he's waiting for me to give him a call. So I'll tell you what, as soon as we get the listing signed here today and we get going, before we leave the house today, I'll make a call and introduce the both of you together. Will that work?
well, of course, yeah, that's what I'd want. Exactly.
Great. Well, Ron, let's take a moment and review the questions that I asked you over the phone. When we spoke earlier, you said you are moving to Nashville and you wanted to be there by the end of summer. And I'm assuming that's because you want to get the kids settled in for before school starts, right?
Yes, that's exactly why
Great.
it's not so much me, it's my family. They got to get, settled.
I get it. Yep.
But
So
yes,
you're, and I also noticed that you said you were thinking about meeting with Tom Smith and the Kaplan team, but it sounds like you've already made those scheduled appointments. And the good news about that is I did take the liberty of doing a report card comparison of their services and results versus ours. And I think you're going to be really, really happy with the comparison results. And we can go over that later if you like. You also mentioned that experience and communication is very important to you, and that your last agent that didn't sell your home was a referral. Is that correct?
yeah, he was awful. He was
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
He
Ooh,
didn't
ouch.
do anything. In fact, I didn't even know that I expired until somebody called
Oh,
me, and then you called me that day too. I was like, hey,
man. I
yeah.
hate it when that happens. But
And
I got to tell you what,
he still hasn't
you
returned my call.
yeah, oh geez, isn't that horrible? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll call him and let him know that if he has a buyer, he can be first in line to try to bring us a buyer. But I'm sure you'll be happy to know, Ron, that I've been a top award-winning realtor now for over 35 years, and I'll personally promise to call you every Friday with a full market update, plus daily whenever we get the buyer feedback after every showing. So you're always up to date and you're never wondering what's going on. Would that put your mind at ease?
Yeah, that's exactly what I need because
Great.
like I said, I never even heard after feedback like you just said.
Well,
So
what's the best way to communicate with you, Ron? Do you prefer email or text or the phone?
phone,
Phone. Okay,
just yeah,
I'm gonna make a note of that right now, Ron, to make sure that you get a phone call at least every Friday and after every showing. Will that work for you?
yes, that'll
Okay,
be
great.
perfect.
Because I want to make sure that we handle that really good for you. You also mentioned that you wanted to list your home for 795 and you take 750 cash tomorrow, and that you owe 325 on your home. Is that also correct?
Yes. Yeah, I got
Okay.
plenty of equity, but I don't want to give it away. I mean, that question was kind of tricky. I like the 795 figure better than the 750. But I
Well,
guess
yeah, I understand, sure. But let me ask you, if you got 400, if you netted 400,000 in your pocket right now, and you walked up to Nashville with 400,000 to be able to buy a house, do you think that number would work for you?
yes, probably.
Okay, well, hey, great. Well, Ron, I got to ask you one final question before we get into the nuts and bolts here. Is I need to know, is you getting your home sold quickly and moved to Nashville by August, or pricing your home to sit on the market for a long time trying to get the absolute top dollar most important to you? Which one is it? Now, be honest.
I don't want to sit. I want to get the top dollar that we can in the time frame that I need.
Hmm.
Because I sat too long. I can't waste another 6 months, Alan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Ron. Well, let's get down to the nuts and bolts here, and then we'll get to taking a look at the pricing of your property. I know one of the things we spoke about on the phone that we already touched on is how differently we do things than any other agent. So I'm sure you're thinking, why should we choose you, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
well,
what.
I think the bigger question is can we get your home sold? That's the real question, isn't it?
Well, that's a more important question. Yes, I needed to.
Absolutely. Because if anyone did what we could do to get your home sold, the question is will anybody spend the time, money, and marketing that we do? And I got to tell you, Ron, that's really the most important question. But the answer to that is clearly that most agents will not. Did you know that over 8,000 agents in Southwest Florida, and according to the National Association of Realtors, over 71% of those agents haven't sold a home in the past year, while we sold dozens. Were you aware of that?
No, no, you're
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, and best of all, we've sold over 90% of our saleable listings we market, 72% quicker, and an 8% higher price than the market average. So for you, that could be up to $50,000 more cash in your pocket. I bet you like that, huh?
Well, of course I would. Of course I would.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you,
Ron, both, go
these
ahead.
other this team sent me this package, and it was amazing. It had all kinds of, they do like all these floor plans and drone videos, and I mean, I was impressed. I mean, but when I buy a house, I don't really look at that stuff. I just look more. I go look at it, and you know,
Well,
and
well, Ron, you tell me what's more important to you, what something looks like or the results that people get?
well, the results. I think
The
the results are
results
the
speak for themselves, don't they? And
yes.
like I said, we've sold 90% of our homes, 72% quicker than the market average, and an 8% higher price than the market average. So, which would be better for you, having your home stay on the market and get a lower price, or list with us and getting more money quicker and getting you moved up to Nashville?
No, Alan, I've got to get moved to Nashville for the highest price. But like I said, we want to focus on the higher price.
Absolutely. Well, I can appreciate that. And Ron, you and I both know there's a buyer for your home. And when you hire me today, my job is going to be to go out and actually find the buyer. I can assure you that I'm going to stop at nothing. I leave no stone unturned to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And I deliver results like I've shown you. And I can imagine that's exactly what you'd expect for me to do, isn't it?
Yes, I want you to deliver the results. In fact,
Absolutely.
in fact, Alan, I'm thinking I want you to list this place. I mean, do I have to look at all this stuff, or we can we get it
No,
on the market?
absolutely. No, we can get right down to it. As a matter of fact, I was just going to ask you, you've already said you've looked at the marketing plan, and I just wanted to confirm that you didn't have any questions with exactly how we're going to get you the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time, because I wanted to make sure that you're 100% comfortable and confident that our marketing plan will get you maximum exposure and sold for the highest price. So, Ron, let me ask you, if you reviewed that, are you confident with our marketing plan and you're happy with that?
Yeah, like I said, the stats and the graphs are great and everything, but more importantly, I think what you told me is you can get this done. You're experienced enough that I don't have to worry quite as much about all the babysitting you. I need an
Mm-hmm.
experienced agent that'll lead me through this market and get me the home that give me the price that I need so that I can get on to Nashville. Can you do?
Okay. Hey, absolutely, I can do that. So let me ask you again, do you have any questions or doubt about how I'm going to get your home sold?
No.
Okay, great. So all we need to do now is sign the contract right there on line 224. And next, we'll take a look at the market research, and together we'll agree on a price, then position your home in the marketplace to do exactly what you want to get it sold quickly. So, Ron, here's the pin. Sign right there.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Will you call those other agents for me? Because I don't want to call them. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
let them.
absolutely. Well, and that's another thing is I've been more than happy to call those other agents. I do it all the time, and that way it takes that off of you because I know that can be uncomfortable. I'll call those other agents and cancel those appointments. As a matter of fact, you'll love this one. Just last week, I canceled an appointment with my broker's wife.
Oh, oh,
Anyway,
that's what I want. See, that's what I need is some cold-hearted, someone who will just get in there
so
and get it done. Good.
great. Well, I just need your signature right here, Ron.
Okay, I'll sign right here.
Okay, good. So you
Now,
sign.
then the price though, you're going to try to give me that 795, correct?
No, no, no. Let's take a look at that now, Ron. Let's take a look at the pricing and see where we're at. Because, I need to make sure that you are very comfortable with where the pricing is and whatsoever. So I went ahead and I sent you a very comparative market analysis that you have. And I wanted to go over that with you. I already know that you know where the market is. You know that the market for the homes down here have dropped 15% and are dropping at about 1.5% a month. So for a home like yours, that's about $10,000 a month. So the quicker we sell your home and the better and closer we get to the proper pricing, the better off we're going to be because you're going to save money in the long run. Do you understand that, Ron?
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand.
great.
I
Okay,
think
well,
I
so
got let's see if I can see. Oh, no, I don't have it up anymore. Anyways, I was going to take a look at this market analysis. It says it's got all these percentages. You got me down like it's 747, 730.
Well, let's go over it. Let's start from the top and take a look at this, Ron. As you notice, there's two sections of this CMA that I did for you. This one right here. There's two sections actually, and the first one that I talk fantasy or dreamland is what I call that, because that's the properties that are on the market and they haven't sold yet. The second section down here is the properties that I call reality or sold homes, and that's where the top professional real estate agents like myself who sell homes and do a good job list and sell homes for. And then of course part three, which I don't put on here, is what I call never land. They're the expired listings, and we never want to be there. You see, here's the great part, Ron. You're in total control, and you get to decide today where you're going to spend your time and how fast you're going to get into Nashville. Won't that be great?
Well, yeah, that's
Super.
what I want.
Well, let's take a look at some of these homes. If you took a look at the homes in the first part of Fantasyland, and I'm going to go over these pretty quick because there's just a few things that we really need to touch on here. If you take, these are all the homes that have not sold, although there is one that is pending. If you look there, it's home number 4. It is pending. And there's a few things that you need to note on here that's of importance, and we'll go through those. But the biggest thing is, if you notice on that first one, the green box that's in that center one at 114%, what that is that's the percentage of the list price to the assessed value of all the homes that are listed for sale. And it's saying that they're all listed at 114% of assessed value. I just want you to remember that number and keep that on the top of your head. But that's essentially what that number is. And if you take a look at the far column over there, you got days on market. And you notice that the homes that are listed for sale that haven't been selling, they go from 245 all the way to 79 with an average of 150 days on market. Now, Ron, you told me you want to be in Nashville by August. So none of those timeframes are going to work for you. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, good. So now let's take a look at section 2, which are the properties that are actually selling. And that's what we want to call reality. Now, I put down 5 homes here. Now, all these homes are 432 two-car garage homes, and they're all like you. And I have seen each one of these homes. I've been inside 2 of these 5 homes, but I have reviewed the photos and the video of all these homes, and I can assure you that they are the closest comparables to your home in the marketplace. Home number 1 is nicer. Now, this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and I want you to look over here to column 4. And what is the price that they sold that home at? 715, right?
Again, I don't know. I'm lost on this.
It's the first. Okay, look in the first, that fourth, second one down in the green column. It says sales price. What is that number right there?
Sales price.
715, right?
No, I don't even see. Oh, yeah, 715.
Okay, 715, right? So they sold that home at 715. It was originally list price at 755. It sold for 715. And look far on the far side over there on days in the market, and tell me how many days that sold for.
151.
No, over on the far side, you see 25 days.
Oh, 25 days, yes.
Okay, right. There you go. So those are the 2 columns we're going to look at here. Now let's look at house number 2. If you go over the column, you go over here to the, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column, the first green one. I think it should be green on your paper there. You see that one sold for 710. It was listed for 717, sold for 710. And how many days of market was it on?
101.
101. And that would get you into Nashville, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, I need to get there by the end of summer. So how many days?
Okay. Yeah. So 3 months, that would get you there for sure. Now let's take a look at the number 3. That's also a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, same square footage. It was listed at 704, and it sold for, what's that first number right there under the sales price?
695 or 699.
699. And let's go take a look at how many days on market.
Let me get my glasses on.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll tell you that's 7 days on market. So that would really get you going and give you plenty of time to get to Nashville as well, correct?
Well, of course.
Okay. And when we look at the last 2, we look at these last 2 done, and both of them were listed. The first one's at 749, the next one's 718. And if you look at that first green column, what are the sales prices of those 2 homes? They're pretty close to the same.
719 and 715.
Absolutely. And the days on market?
21 and 79.
So all of these homes that have recently sold that are exactly like yours in the exact neighborhoods, at least within 5 miles of your home, would all get you to Nashville in the time frame you want because the average days on that was 46 days, correct?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Right.
46
And then right
point something. Yeah.
right. And the average square footage cost of those homes were $314 per square foot. And that's going to be somewhat important when we get down here to the bottom. You see, Ron, we're going to take a look at the bottom now. When I do my CMAs, I do them differently than everybody else. Like I said, I told you I do things differently. When I do a CMA, I use 4 different methods. I use an appraiser method, a tax assessor method, a builder method, and the recent sales. All the other agents in town just use recent sales, which is why they're not very accurate. So let's go ahead and take your home, which is what the very last column, if you look at the bottom of the page, you see 123 Ron wants to sell Lane. That's your home. You see that?
That's it. That's what I
You
need
see
my
that?
street.
Absolutely. Okay, and you had an original list price of $775. Your home's assessed valued at $658. Look at that first red column that I have highlighted and tell me what the number is on that.
118.
118. Now, if you look at the top in that, at the very top of this page, at that green box of where the listed homes that are not selling, those were 114. Your home was listed at 118%. Those homes are 114%, and they haven't sold either. Can you see why your home didn't sell?
Well, I'm beginning to. I mean, but you could pick any houses, and make your numbers work.
Well, that's not here. That's well, kind of, except for these homes that we listed here are exactly like yours. Have you seen these homes?
Yeah, I know all these homes.
Oh, you do? Have you been inside these homes?
No, but I know where they're at.
Absolutely. And so wouldn't you agree with me, Ron, that these homes are pretty close to exactly your home? They have the same 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2-car garage. They're all within 200 square foot of your home, and they're all very nicely done because you've seen them. So I know that you know that. Would you agree?
Like these ones on Go to Sale Fast. Go to Sale Fast Road.
That's right. Number 2 on Go to Sale Fast Road was really nice. And they started that list price at $717 and they sold that at $710 in 101 days. So, all these homes are right there where you need to be. But what I want to show you is that when we take all these 4 different methods, not just one, and that's the important part I want you to remember here. We take these 4 different methods and we're going to do an adjustment to your home to see exactly where those prices are. And that's what these colors that you have on the bottom of the page. That first line takes the sold to assessed value and it makes an adjustment. And what's that number? 708, right?
Yes, 708 294.
Okay, and that's the homes that are actually selling. So that would be the price of your home adjusted with all the homes that have sold. So now let's take a look at the next column, which is average listed to assessed value. That is the average of your home adjusted for the prices or the homes that are for sale but have not sold. And what's that number?
747 396.
Okay. So we know that 747 is not selling. So that's going to be our high number. So now let's take a look at the builder method, which looks at the average and the prices of sold per square foot. And what's that number?
I can't even read.
It's in the blue. Yeah. 739.
739. Okay.
Right. Okay. So 739. You notice that that's right in the middle of the 3. So we basically have a range here of 708 to 739. When we average the 3, we come up to 731. So let me ask you, if you turn that page over, you'll actually see my recommended list price range right there. Because in our market that's going down right now, you want to be in front of the marketplace, right? So at a 95%, your range that you need to be in is 695 to 731. So let me ask you, Ron, now that you've looked at all these different valuation methods, all the facts and all the numbers, what price do you think we should price your home at to make it in the value in the eyes of a buyer so that they choose your home first over all the others and you get it sold in the next 30 days?
Well, it looks like we've got to be between 695 and 731. Is that what you're saying?
I would totally agree with you there, Ron.
So let's call it in the middle. What's the middle?
Well,
Seven.
at the middle, yeah, I would say you're, right about the middle of that range. Someplace would be about the 719. I think would be in the middle of there. Would you be comfortable at 719?
Well, I think the middle's more like 720. So let's do 725.
Okay, we can do 725, and that'll put you in a net range of about 400 and $12,000 net. And you said 400 would make you happy, so that gives you an extra 12,000 in your pocket. Would that do you good?
Yes, sir. I think that'll do it.
Oh, and you can give me a tip for that 12,000? I'll take
No.
half. You take half. How's that?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a tip.
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
read it,
Well,
make it bigger.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out then for 720,000. Do you have any other questions for me at this time, Ron?
Well, what do you charge? I mean, like I said, these other guys are all cutting their commission. They're saying I don't have to pay 3% to the other agents anymore.
Hey, I can appreciate that, Ron, and that's a great question. For you, my premium full marketing fee to get you the maximum highest home price only starts at 3.5%. It used to be 7, so that's a 50% savings for you. I could charge you more if you like.
No,
I just need to
that's
get.
fine. But what are you going to offer the other guys?
Well, that's a great question. And you know what? The thing is with what we've got going now, and as you know, that the buyers are responsible now for their own brokerage fee, which sometimes happen and sometimes not. And the fact is we don't really know what that is. They could be needing $500. They could be needing 1%. They could be needing 2%. We don't know that. So we don't want to obligate you up front to a certain percentage. So what I'm going to do is I will just put in there and let all the agents know that you'd be interested or willing to offer some co-broke fee, and that they'll just put it in the offer, and then we can see what the offer is. Because obviously if somebody gives you a lowball offer, you're not going to be really that excited about paying a whole lot of commission. But on the other hand, if somebody comes in and gives you a full boat offer or an offer above your asking price to compensate for that, that would work for you, correct?
Well, of course. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So that's how we'll handle that. Any other questions, Ron?
No. So all I'm going to commit to is the 3.5 to you.
That is absolutely correct.
And then we'll look at each offer as it comes in.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay. Have any other questions for you, Ron?
No, when can you start?
Okay. The listing will be for 6 months. You mentioned I wouldn't have, most people wouldn't have brought that up, but you did have a question about a short-term listing. So I wanted to make sure that we touched on that before we got away from here. You're good with a 6-month. I have a 6-month term on my listing, and you're good with that, correct?
As long
I mean,
as
I normally do 1 year. I normally do 1 year, but I know you're very motivated to get moving. So I went ahead and reduced that to 6 months. So you don't have a problem with that, right?
Should I? I mean, can you get it done
No.
before this? I need it done before the end of summer, period.
Absolutely, Ron. And the pricing at 720,000, I think you're right there where it needs to be done. And I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to get that done for you within 30 days. So the 6-month listing will be more than enough.
Okay.
Good go?
Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Okay, super, Ron. Look forward to getting your home on the market in a day, and you'll be hearing from somebody in my office tomorrow if there's any questions or we need to get any more for you.
Okay.
Okay, super. Talk to you then, Ron.
All right.
Okay. Off we go.
Off we go. Okay.
All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome listing presentation. So, Superstar Ron Poindexter, why don't you go ahead and give Superstar Alan Smith your feedback on his listing presentation today?
Oh, I wish I could have shown you guys the 4 or 5 papers that I have. But pretty much, I mean, how can you argue with stats that long? You can only argue with stats so long. And so, it really didn't matter what I said or what the objection was or the slow down thing, because he was going to keep on me with his stats coming back at me. And he did an excellent job. That was an excellent job. He wore me out. I was just ready to go, because my personality is I'm ready to go. I want to get it done. But I think that maybe I should ask these other questions, but he answered them, and I knew that he was just going to keep answering them. So I was good with it. He did a great job.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I think Ron, if you would have just said, on your short-term listing, I probably would have just said something like, my average days on market's 43 days, and some homes I've sold in 60, and some homes in 30, and some homes in less than a week. So I can assure you that I'll do whatever is possible, and I would have gone on that way, and I would have just said, so I assure you that no other agent's going to do a better job. Let's sign the paperwork, and then, blah blah blah.
Sure.
That's a pretty easy one to get around. And then if he would have gone any further, I would have I would have got into my, well, most agents do the three P's and place a sign in the yard and put put it in the MLS, place a sign in the yard and pray. And then I would have done that one. And then if they're still not convinced, I'll say, well, I'll tell you do one better. I'll put it in writing that if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, then you can cancel the listing at any time. So really the length of time doesn't matter now, does it? I mean, and how can
Right.
you argue
It
that?
really,
I've never had
really does.
anybody in 30 years argue, and I do 1 year listings. So I've never had anybody not sign a 1 year listing. I mean, I've been doing 6 months now, but I used to do own one, and I'm going to go back to 1 years now that the market is the way it is, because some sellers, are in short sale, and so it takes them a lot longer to finally, come around to realizing what they need to be. So definitely need some long, and I have an easy exit listing guarantee thing but really all it says is, listen, if I don't do what I say, that, first I get the opportunity to correct it. And second, I have to have my broker's appreciation, my broker's approval, but it's just a certificate deal. But in 30 years, I've never had anybody, I've never had that be a problem.
Well, it's really just a stall. That's all
Yeah.
it is. And then
Yeah.
once you kind of get over that and answer that, I'm moving to a next one. So as far as mine, all of mine are 6 months. Any other questions? I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
much the answer.
Yeah.
They do want to hear something. They just think they should ask. And
Yeah.
but the fact is,
Well, the reason they ask that question is because they had a bad experience with the last person. They don't want to get locked in, and that's when they say that to me, that's what I do. Like if they say, well, my last agent screwed me, I never heard from them, and I just don't want to get in that situation again. And 4 years ago, I had this bad experience, that kind of thing. And that's why I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll even do much better. I'll put it in writing that if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, matter of fact, that doesn't say if you decide you want to, it says if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, then you can cancel the listing anytime. Plus my listings have a $1,500 cancellation fee in them. So, not that I've ever had to use it. I've never had to use it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that's a good, I use that too. I use a cancellation fee in mine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Ron, Superstar Alan Smith, how do you feel about your listing presentation today?
I felt good about it up until about the halfway point, and then I noticed he started changing on me to a driver. And so actually, I usually go into a little bit more on like the marketing plan and some of the things I do differently. I make sure that they know about the marketing plan and what I do, and make sure they're happy with that, because that way when they say we want to think about it, it's very easy to say, well, wait a minute here. There's only three things we need to think about. One, whether or not you want to sell this home. You want to sell it, right? Yes. We reviewed the marketing plan. You said you believe that it'll sell your home. Is that correct? Yes. Well, then the only other thing is, do you think I can sell your home? Yes. Well, then sign here. So I like to make sure that they say, yes, your marketing plan will sell my home, because then the number one objection everybody hears, at least I think the number one objection is, I want to think about it. And by getting them to agree that your marketing plan will sell their home, you've already got two swings at the apple at the end when they say, I want to think about it. So they can't go back and say, well, I know I told you that your marketing plan will, I believe it'll sell your house, but now at the end, I got questions. I really don't think it will. So I usually go through that, and then I go through a few things that I do differently, like the prospecting and the calling every day and things like that. But since he turned into instant driver on me, it's like, okay, well, fast forward here and let's just get to the dollars. But since he already signed the listing agreement before we talked money, that was a little bit, it made it a lot easier. Most of the time people don't want to do that. They always want to know the price, but I do it in three different ways. I ask for the signature in the intro. I ask for the signature halfway through after the marketing, and I ask for a signature, of course, after, at the end. And I do that on purpose, because sometimes you get people like Ron that they're sold on what you do. And the thing that I like to prevent is the person who's just using you for information. And you do a CMA and they get your number, and then they go on to the next agent and do their number. And then you're sitting there. And so years ago, it kind of ticked me off. And so I said, okay, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. So it's like, I believe we should be like a doctor or a dentist or whatever you want to call it, other professionals, that you get hired first before you give them their expertise. This is the only industry, I think, in the world that I'm aware of, that we give our expertise first and then expect to get paid somewhere down the line. And I don't agree with that. I mean, if my expertise is how to price and position your property, then you get that after you hire me, not before. Not that you can do that all the time, but I try. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. That makes excellent sense.
In a real world, that's how it should be, right? You would go and you would do your presentation, and you'd say, so, do you want to hire me or Bill Smith? Oh, no, I hire you based upon your experience, based upon whatever, your dog and pony show, your listing presentation. And then you say, okay, great. Now let's sit down and come up with a price on your home. And that, well, what do you think I should do differently? Do you think I should paint? Do you think I should fix up my home? Do you think I should remodel? I don't know until you hire me and pay me for my expertise and my information. But unfortunately, realtors always want to give everything up front, and it kills us. I think it kills the industry as a whole. So I tend to not do any of that unless I absolutely have to. And I've had them before, and I picked up and I don't leave any paperwork. I don't leave a CMA. I don't do any of that. It's like, if I can't get them to sign a listing agreement up front with me when I'm there, and they want to think about, or whatever they're going to do, I grab all my paperwork and leave. I don't give them, and I don't leave all that crap, because all they're going to do is use it for their information. I got tired of doing a listing presentation and then seeing their old agent put the home back on the market tomorrow for the price I just gave the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of them will do. They don't have the excuse my French, they don't have the balls to tell their agent or fire them, or their Aunt Jenny or Uncle Susan or their brother. So they'll go around and they'll find top agents to get their information and find out what number they think it'll sell at. And then they call their brother Joe, and who's giving them a free deal because they're not charging them a full commission or whatever. And they'll say, well, you know what, I want it priced at 340. And then you see that listing comes up at the number you gave them, and the damn house sells. And you're going, that cost me 20 grand because I gave them a number. I told them what it really should be. And we need to get paid for our expertise. That's what we do.
Right.
So
right.
I try to avoid giving them all the beans the best I can. So anyway.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Superstar Alan Smith. Does anyone else have any feedback, questions, or comments for Superstar Alan Smith or Superstar Ron Poindexter?
I had my hand up. For some reason, it went down, but this was a tremendous class training from these two powerful realtors, Ron and Alan. We could not expect any less from any of them for all the information that it was out there. There's always room for improvement. I can't say or find out about anything because everything was spoken here, written in black and white and colors, and everything was beautiful. One thing, I was trying to make some notes, but both of you guys, you speak very fluently, very quick, and just about everything that I could see is it's just about perfect. Even though there are room to improve, I can't figure anything else. What I missed, Alan, is you mentioned 4 ways that you do a CMA. You said appraisal, tax assessors, index numbers, recent sales, and what was the other one? Is it by square footage or how you figure it out?
Yeah, I call that the builder method.
The builder method. Yeah, is that by square footage?
Yeah, I do it by square footage. That's correct. I have a form that's a Excel spreadsheet that all the numbers are there. So I just plug them in, and it calculates everything for me. So I can do a CMA in about 15 minutes. But I mean, if I show it to you, or if Ron, it looks pretty exuberant. But the thing that I like about it, and I actually designed this with Jackie Kravitz back in like 2005. And the nice thing about it is I call it a market absorption analysis, just so that it's different than everybody else, because everybody comes in and says, well, I did a CMA on your house as market analysis, and I come in and say, well, I've done a market absorption analysis, and I use 4 separate methods to determine the value: the appraiser method, the tax assessor method, the builder method, and the recent sales method. By which way, That's the only method all the other agents use, which is why they're all not accurate. And that gives me, again, it's different. It's something else. And it makes it a lot harder for them to argue, well, my price. I'm going, well, it's not just one method. We've done 4 different methods here. We've looked at pricing your home 4 different ways. So they all can't be wrong. Oh, there you go. I think Ron just put it up. I didn't know how to, I'm not a techie. So,
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
but
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
But if you and I can explain, if somebody wants to give me a call, I can walk you through it. I mean, it's pretty easy to present, but and you can see that the numbers, they're colored, so you can kind of follow. The top one is section 1 of for sale, and section 2 below it, and then basically, so what you're doing really is you're just taking your home and you're doing an adjustment based upon those numbers, and then you come out with 3 forms. And like everybody says, a range. I give a range, not a number, but it gives a range, and then I put the second on the back side because that's the numbers. Because I don't want to, because every time you sit down, they just look at the bottom anyway. And so normally that bottom number, and it didn't come out on this one because I was in a hurry to get it to Ron, but normally the bottom number is on the second page because like Ron did, that's what everybody does. They look at the bottom and go, well, I don't know all this shitty numbers. You got 731 right here. That 731 is usually on the bottom. I mean, excuse me, it's on the other side. So they can't see it because if you have that number on any CMA, if you watch your customer, they don't even hear what you say on the CMA. All they do is look at that bottom number, and then the whole time you're talking to them about the CMA, in their head they're going, "Well, 731." Said, "I don't want to be 731. This guy's too low," and they don't even hear what you say. So again, experience has proven to me that if I keep that number away from them, they'll actually talk, and you can walk them through the CMA, then flip it over, and then you have your number. Does that make sense? Whoever asked the question.
It sure does. Now, are you using AI for adding up more precise with Claude or ChatGPT or whatever Perplexity,
No.
or just put your hard work, earn money with all these 4 different methods?
My hard-earned money. No, it only takes me 15 minutes to do that. I just pull up the tax assessment. You know what the listings are because they're listed. If you look at my desk, I have 3 screens here. So I have the tax assessors will go here, the MLS will be here, and my form will be here. So I just look over and tax assessment 755. I keep things low tech. I couldn't even tell you how to do this thing right here.
Thank you,
So
man.
I'm an old guy, so I don't get it. My son, on the other hand, gets into all this tech stuff and whatsoever, and I don't. So I try to keep things real simple. I'll tell you a secret, and I know there's probably some other people here and this is my pet peeve. In the year 2000, when Top Producer came out, I spent a Google amount of money, a huge amount of money in Top Producer, and I had their video thing and their website thing and their what do you call your thing with all your names and numbers? What?
Their letters,
CRM,
right? Their letters and all that shit. And I made up this listing presentation that had like 4 videos in it. We went out by the pool, and my wife and I go, "Hi, I'm Alan, blah blah blah, and I'm Carol," and we made all this elaborate stuff, and we literally spent, I bet we spent 4.5 months just making all this elaborate stuff and letters and this and that and everything, and then it seemed like every week I had to have a full-time PC guy. This is before I went to Mac, but still I had to have a full-time PC guy just to keep the shit running. And I just said, this is just crazy. The bottom of our business is simple. Find a buyer, find a seller, put the 2 together and get the hell out of the way. And I learned back then that I spent a year, well, pretty much a year learning that all of this computer stuff, AI, as you're calling it, all this stuff, in my opinion, which is, I'm nobody, but in my opinion, at least for me, it doesn't make me any money. What makes me money is calling somebody on the phone or whatever, getting an appointment, go out on a listing. And by the end of the day, I can make 10 calls right now and have a listing appointment and go out on the end of the day. That makes me money. Sitting on listing or AI or Joe Blow or I don't know, whatever this stuff is, doesn't it's great for assistance, I guess, or that kind of thing. But us as realtors, we only make money if we find a client, write a contract, or get a price reduction. So that's really the only thing we should be doing all day is finding a client, writing a contract and getting a price reduction.
Absolutely.
And so,
Hey,
I've been guilty of it for 5 years. I did all of the other stuff, the secretary, the realtor secretary, the realtor assistant, and I just try to alleviate all of that. And I hope that helps somebody, because I see so many realtors, especially on the espresso agent call that we do a weekly, that I don't have any time. I don't have any time. And it's like, well, how many buyers you work with? One. How many listings you have? Two. And you don't have any time? Well, it's because they're spending all their time doing stuff that doesn't make money. But I've been
right.
there. So,
Hey, the other day I talked to a guy, he talked to me about AI. I'm like, how many houses does AI own? AI doesn't own any houses. As long as the sale is still an emotional, most residential sales are emotional, you're never going to have AI take over your spot. You have to realize that you know the emotions. You know where to step in with the energy and enthusiasm, and AI is never going to do it. I don't care. They're fancy. They're neat to look at. But if you don't get them in the home, they won't buy the home. Trust me, I've sold homes out of trailers, renditions, things like that. There's a certain percentage that cannot picture a home unless they can feel it, smell it, touch it, and they won't buy one unless they can do those things. So you got to get them in the home to be able to.
Well, down here in South Florida, we do sell a lot of homes. I mean, especially during the COVID period. And this is one of those, when we were doing 100 homes a year on all buyers, that was one of the things that we started, was doing the video, the video online and selling homes without seeing them. So you can do that. I don't know how to do that for AI. I just have my son go down there and he walks through and takes a video and spruces it up a little bit and sends it to somebody. I think it's just very, like you said, Ron, I think it's very easy for a realtor to get caught up in the marketing that all these people are doing and places are doing, that you got to remember that it's kind of like the golf world. Okay. Like, I've tried golf. I tried to get good at it, but I don't have the patience. But only in the golf world, next to the realtor, are more people selling shit that's going to make your life better and faster and whatsoever, that really doesn't have any to do. Golf, and golf's the same reason, because golf is very hard. You've got a very small margin for error. And so they have a widget, a wadget, a handle, a grip, a glove, anything to fix every problem that millions of people buy, when really all they should be doing is sitting at the range and practicing or getting coaching. And that's the same thing with the realtor world. And again, it's because there are more realtors than any other occupation out there. So if I'm a person who wants to sell a widget, who am I going to go after? A realtor. So, and as well as I do, that people marketing nowadays can make anything look brilliant. I mean, you can sell, a person who can sell something can sell an ice cube to an Eskimo. So, and I just see a lot of people falling prey to that, when it goes back to the same old thing. Get skills at finding the client, namely phone skills or communication skills. Now, when you talked about AI, I do agree with AI on letter writing. I do use it to write letters, or like if I write a text to a client or whatever. I'm not a very good speller. So I do use AI for that. That's probably the only thing. It just makes me sound more educated, I guess, when it does what it does. But I don't use AI for anything, because I don't find those to be skills that us realtors need. I think you need communication skills. You need to know your objection handlers, and then how to write the contracts and how to get price reductions. That's our game. We're in the people game.
But you got to
people
remember,
business.
what you guys are learning right now is what we learned 20, 30 years ago. It's the same stuff. You don't have any new problems in real estate. You got to find the client, get them together, and get in the way, and then close them. And the more you can close them, the better, more productivity you're going to have. So you've got to talk to people. The more conversations you have, the better off you are. And the better you are at talking to people, and the smoother you get, and just spotting that foot in the door moment, that's how you get sales. That's how you make things happen. So Alan and I can get on the phone by the end of the day, have a listing or 2 listing appointments or whatever. But we can do that every single day. It's just whenever we feel like doing it, that's when we'll do it. So
And that's the next problem that you run into, and that's the problem that I have at this date is the motivation to go do it because I'm like, I don't want to go deal with these these people, and so that's the thing. You're right. You either have two different problems. You either can't get the listings, or if you're confident and know you can get them, it's like, do I really want to deal with these people today? And that's my problem. It's like, you did that thing last week that I don't know what that event was that you guys held. Okay, I called for an hour and a half. Okay, I made 19 calls. I set 12 appointments, and I gave them to other people because I didn't want to go on them. But it's like that to me, that the skills is what you need to work on, and not the AI and the secretarial stuff. And to me, that's where our business comes from. Is you have to be able to get the appointment, the listing presentation. I talked to Tina Call the other day, about 2 weeks ago. And, she said she learned the listing presentation first because she's like, well, I figured that if I got the appointment, I didn't know the listing presentation, I was wasting my time. So I learned that first. And I don't know which way is right. I think I did it the other way. But, I was with Jackie a long time. And then I did that specialty program that Jackie did with a select few at Mike Ferry, for a long time. And then she was my personal coach. Did you do that one?
Yeah,
did you do that one
for 6
Hold
months?
Hold on, guys, because we do have some other questions here too.
Okay, ask away.
But here's a very important question. A couple of people wanted to know: are we going to be able to receive the documents that you provided to Ron? Are you?
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't. You can. I'm not a techie. I don't know how to get it to you. So if you want to, my phone number's up there. So just send me a text or an email or whatever, and I'll just send it to you personally. Unless there's 400 people here. How many people are here?
Well,
I can
there
forward
are
it
enough
to you.
people, but yeah. So Ron,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, Ron will send those documents to me, and then I will send the documents out to everyone when I send out the video next week.
He's only got a copy of it. If somebody needs the actual template to, like for the listing presentation, I mean, for the CMA deal, I'm happy to do that.
Well, you can send that to me. Have your son send it to me, Alan. Have your son send it to me.
I can do that. I can use the email.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then do that. And so then I will send it out to you all because I know a couple of you asked specifically if we would be able to receive that information. So that is absolutely awesome. Now, does anyone else have any questions, comments, or feedback for Superstar Alan Smith or Superstar Ron Poindexter? Superstar Dennis DeMeglio. You're on mute.
Yeah, I know. I always forget that because I've been handed a quarter and told people tell me to go sit in the corner. So I'm used to being muted. I have a question regarding his analytics for the pricing. Now, I know he says he uses the 4 different methods. I use square footage because I was in construction. I look at recent sales. Now, my question is, do you make a combination, figure out your own value, and use that number as your presentation, or do you actually show the 4 different numbers?
Oh no, I actually show him there. It's on that form right there. I mean, he's got the form in front of him.
Form. It was too small on my screen.
Yeah. Well, no, I think Ron just had it up in the page. So I mean, you could take a screenshot of it or have Ron stick it up there right now or whatever. But yeah, no, it's 4 numbers, and they can see each 4 number. And the most important part in your presentation, in my experience, is the pricing part of it. And you have to.
I'm aware of that.
The problem that I see that most people do, including myself, the only reason that I've got to this point is because I've made all those mistakes that didn't work. The most problem is that agents want to tell the seller what the price should be, and you can't do that because if you're telling the seller, they don't believe you. My property's worth $795. I know you may think it's $735, so I'm going to meet with Jerry Ann or Billy Bob or somebody else who's going to tell me more because they're going to lie. He doesn't understand that they're going to lie to him and tell him whatever price to get the listing, and then beat him over the head every week to try to get a price reduction. And I used to say that to people. Well, before we get started, let me ask you, let me ask you, Ron. Before we get started, do you want me to tell you the honest truth, or do you want me to lie to you?
Well, I want the truth.
Well, absolutely. And I can appreciate that. But I know for a fact that most agents are going to walk in here and they're going to lie to you and tell you whatever price that they think you want to hear to get the listing. So I want to make sure that if I don't give you those same numbers, that you understand that I'm giving you the truth, and I'll back it up with my figures. Will that work for you?
Well, of course, that's what I want. I want the truth. I need it. I need it sold. That's what I need.
Right. And most sellers will tell you that they want the truth, but they don't really want to see the truth. And so if you can't walk, you need to be able to walk them down, and they need to say it. How, and I mean, I used to go even further. Like if any of you are familiar with the Mike Ferry, I used to even go further and go, how many bedroom? And they'd say 4. How many bath? And they'd say 2. But that just drug on too long. So I kind of do a summary of it now. I don't make them, but I do make them give me the prices. And what's the list price? $755. And what did it sell for? $695. And how many days on market? I think those 3 you have to go through. They have to tell you. So at the end of the deal, when you say, so what price do you want to put? They're still going to tell you the upper price, but they've had to say those prices on their own. Because otherwise, if you show them a CMA with your number on the bottom, like I said earlier, all they're going to do when you set down that paper is they look at the very bottom. Same way when you buy a car, what do? You look at the bottom. They look at the very bottom, they see the number, and everything you say after that goes through one ear and out the other, because all they're thinking about is how they don't like that number and they want to talk to Billy Sue or whatever. And you're trying to tell them something. You can't tell somebody to sell somebody. You have to show them. And I think that's what's important with the listing president. And that is the biggest mistake that I see other agents make, is they're always telling them, well, how much is my home worth? I think it's worth, if somebody says that to me, I just say, well, I'm not really sure. Let's take a look at the numbers. My job is to give you all the numbers, all the information, and all the details that you need to make the best decision for you and your family. So let's take a look at the numbers here. Do you see this first home? It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, same square footage of yours. Have you ever seen this home? You have to ask that question, because otherwise you're going to get your tongue stepped on when you tell them, well, and this home is not as good as yours, or this home is nicer than yours, and so we need to be priced under that. And they say, oh no, my daughter's boyfriend lives in that home, I'm in it all the time, that's a piece of junk. So you got to know whether or not these people have actually seen these homes, and if they haven't, then obviously you got a little bit of leeway. But
I agree with that to a point. I don't think you should bring it out unless you need to. So if you've got them in your rhythm and they're ready to go, sign them up and close them with your figure, because you're the pro. See, they're hiring you for a reason. So if it's an expired, you already know they don't want what they had. See, they don't want the results they had. They don't want the price they had, because it didn't. We know what that didn't sell. So let's.
Well, wait a minute, Ron. Well, that's not necessarily true. It expired at $750, but the bum was an idiot. He didn't do any marketing. He didn't show up in open houses. They never showed my property. I still think it's worth $775.
No.
So
we don't want to even start there. Here's why. And then I would bring out some stats. But if they don't do that, if they say, okay, what do you recommend? You're the pro. I recommend $750. Let's get it done.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And
that goes back to experience and being able to read the situation at the time. I agree with you, though.
Okay. So superstar Dennis DeMeglio, did you have any other questions?
Well, yeah. My comment I was going to make upon what they're saying, because I know there's different ways to try and come up with the pricing. And I usually tell people, I says, well, 2 main factors in your pricing is the financing and what the bank is going to appraise the house for. Now, you may want $1.5 million, and the bank's saying it's only a $900,000 property based on their information that an appraiser works with. Then what do you do?
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, so what you say there is I can sell the buyer on the price, but I can't sell the bank, because the bank's not emotional. The buyer is emotional. I can sell them on your heavy duty nails and your beautiful marble, but the bank's just going to say they're nails and it's wall to wall, floor covering. So
yeah, that's what it comes down to. Most of the time, it's what the bank is going to appraise it for.
Right.
And one other thing I usually ask.
And I've even had an occasion where I've suggested that a seller get an appraisal. The problem with the get an appraisal idea, if you don't already have the listing signed, though, is you're giving them an excuse to delay. So if you go that route, you got to get the listing signed and then say, well, I'll tell you what, let's start with this price. We'll go ahead and order appraisal, and then we can always adjust the price in 2 weeks when that appraisal comes in, depending on what it is. We can go up or down. You can go either way.
Okay,
Well, the other thing I usually,
fantastic. So,
okay, one other comment. What I usually,
yes.
I'll say to sellers, I say, you want to sell the house for X amount of dollars. If you were the buyer, how much would you be willing to pay for the house? And it's going to be a different number.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah,
have to, then the seller has to
another
be
th-
realistic at that point.
another thing that I've done along those same exact lines, like you're talking about, is sometimes you can put a seller in your car and drive them around for the day and show them the actual competition. If you have somebody who's really, but again, if you don't have the listing sign, you're just putting it down the road. And in my experience, if you don't get the listing sign the day you were there the first time, I don't know what that percentage is, but to me, man, it's 80%. If you don't walk out of that, that's the way I look at it. I look at it like, if I leave this home right now without this listing signed, and I'll do anything to get it signed. I mean, I'll do, let's sign it right now. Well, I'm meeting with somebody else. Well, that's great. I'll tell you what, sign it right now, and I'll just hold it. We won't do anything with it, and I'll tear it up. Call me an hour from now, and I'll tear it. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, but if you leave without that signature, it's got to be 80% chance that you ain't going to get that listing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't leave. I don't leave without that signature. I don't care what I got to do. I got to figure it out.
We
But
know
I
you
leave
get
with a
it.
damn listing.
We know
You
you
know.
get that listing
And
signed.
so that's the
Superstar
thing I
Alan
don't
Smith.
hate. That's the thing I hate about the idea of, the appraisal or driving somebody around town. You can always do that later. Like, that's good for price reductions and things. And I don't think I've ever had to do that, but you could. You could say, well, let's drive around and take a look at your competition, and do that. It's just, then you run the risk of saying, well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to sign right now until after we figure out the pricing. It's like,
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Superstar Dennis DeMeglio. Superstar Chris Davis.
Oh, thanks. I just wanted to say it was a great listen presentation from both. So
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Short and
well,
sweet. All right. Thank
Ron appreciates that.
Thank you so much, Superstar Chris Davis. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, or feedback for Superstar Alan Smith or Superstar Ron Poindexter? So let me just say, of course, I was really looking forward to today's listing presentation because, like I said in the very beginning, we have two heavyweights in the industry providing this information for us today. And Alan, of course, is extremely confident, very, very professional, very well prepared. I mean, who's going to say no? um you know but Alan, you made some pretty bold statements early on, and again, this really, he's a fearless agent, and he's standing 10 toes on this. He's telling the seller, there is no one in town who does what I do. No one. And just think about that. Just think if you've got let's say 500,000 other agents in your market. But he's saying there is no one in town who does what I do. And he said again, do you know of any other agent with more experience than me in this town? These are very bold statements. He also said 100% of my time, money, and effort goes towards looking for a buyer for your property. And this was interesting now, Alan. You said you had two openings for new clients. What's that all about?
Well, I like to put it's just urgency.
Let's see.
It's basically telling them, hey, you run into two things in sellers, right? If you're a big team guy and you do a lot of business, so like my group last year that I coached did 680 sales, 442 listings, sold to 230 buyers for 217 million. The thing is that if you got a big team and you're a one person deal and you're going up against the Kaplan group, like he brought up, or I don't know, some other big group, it's really easy. You got to turn that around on why you're a benefit. Well, you're a benefit because you're busy. You've got time to spend on them, whereas this big group isn't going to have time to spend on them. And the reason that I do that too is because, and sometimes it's different. Sometimes I may want to take on more, but it gives the feeling of exclusiveness. It gives the people And I don't know who taught me that. I don't know if it was Tony Robbins or somebody, but it gives the impression that you're in demand, that somebody,
Yeah.
that you can't just wait. I mean, this guy, I've only got 2 openings because I only have time. I can only spend so much time, with you. I'm not one of those other listing agents who just go around and throw a whole bunch of mud on the wall and hope something sells. I spend 100% of my time, energy, and money on getting your home sold. Well, and common sense says there's only so many hours in the week, which means I can
Right.
only work with so many clients at a time. Now, they don't know what that number is.
Right.
But by telling them, listen, I only have room for 2 more people right now, and I have several appointments already scheduled. So shit or get off the pot if you want me to work for you.
Right.
So
And
it gives that exclusivity. That's
right.
that's why that's there.
And it also creates that fear of missing out for
That,
some
well, that's what
sellers.
I guess that's what I was going for there. Yeah,
FOMO.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Again, I'm continuing with some of your bold statements. I don't need your listing. I want to earn your business. Now, when we got to superstar Ron Poindexter talking about the discount brokers, of course, you gave an awesome explanation. But for me, when I hear that, one of the first things that I say is if you go with a discount broker, be prepared to receive discounted services. So, and
Absolutely.
you're
You get
not
what you
going to
pay
want
for.
that. You get what you
Yep.
pay for.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And that almost came out of my mouth at one point, but he was already moving forward. So it was like, okay, moving on,
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was
Now,
next.
continuing on, this was also very impressive when superstar Ron mentioned the fact that he was planning to interview some other agents, and you talked about this other mega agent in your industry, well, I've forgotten the name, but you said, I'm going to share with you that agent's report card versus our report card. And I think you're going to be very surprised when I provide you with that information. So that report card information, you've done your research in advance because he told you in advance who these other agents
Yeah.
are that he's planning to
Right.
meet with.
Yes.
When you do your pre-qualification for that listing appointment, probably the 2 most important things you need to know is you need to have that seller say that if they are 100% confident and comfortable with you, an agent, they're ready to sign the listing. That's the first thing, which most people don't want to ask, but it is the most important thing you need to know, or you're going to go out there and waste your time and get stumped all the time. Or 2, and the second thing you need to know, in my opinion, is are you meeting with any other agents and do you have anything scheduled? Because if you know them, because that determines, for me, it determines a couple things. Am I going first or am I going last?
Mm-hmm.
And there's strategies on either one. And I've done both. And sometimes if I'm like, well, you're meeting with them Wednesday at 3, well, I'll tell you what, let's meet at Wednesday at 5 after you have a chance. But the problem with that is if you have a strong agent that you're going up against, they may be able to convince them to sign, and you get out there, or you're the one that gets the call and the cancellation. Like if you go up against me, I'll call you and I've done my broker's wife when I was with a previous broker. And yes, she came in and yelled and screamed in my office and all that kind of stuff. But fortunately, my broker was a Mike Ferry broker, so we laughed about it. But yeah, his wife was really pissed off about it. But anyway, but on the other hand, if you go first, then you know that you've got to be very strong on the objection. Well, I want to meet with these other people. So it's a decision that you've got to kind of make. And that's why I like to find out at the time of the listing, do you already have these scheduled? Because if they're not scheduled, I don't worry about them, because that's just a matter of you don't really want to go through the hassle of scheduling this and meeting more people. Is the purpose of talking to more agents just because you want to meet more people, or that you want to find the right person that can sell your house? Oh, the right person to sell your house. Well, do you think I can sell your house? Yes. Okay, great. Sign here. So if they've already scheduled it, then that presents a different problem that you have to deal with, which
Right.
like Ron actually volunteered for me, but
Right.
so
Okay,
it's a strategy.
All right, continuing on, you mentioned that experience and communication are very important, and you said to Ron, to the seller, that you are a top award-winning realtor, and you will call him every Friday, so he will always be up to date with regard to everything that's going on with his listing. And you also said that you would call after every showing So you call after every showing?
Actually, okay, he told me in the pre-listing questions that his hot buttons were communication and experience. So yeah, I'm gonna go all that way. But then you notice I asked him, "What's my best way to communicate?" And he said, "Call."
Yeah.
So in those cases, yes, most of the people I just text. You know, when I get a showing, they send you those feedback forms you get. You know, you get the feedback
Yeah.
forms from. Okay, I just copy them and text them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Okay.
it's just you're communicating because you know as well as I do, Dot, that the number one thing that buyers and sellers hate in this marketplace is they all say the lack of communication. Nobody ever tells them.
Absolutely.
If you're selling your home, and I know you probably sold a home before, you know what it's like. That seller, he wants to move. Like I've got one right now that I've had a million showings for. I finally got a $40,000 price reduction, so now they're where they should be. But up until this point, it's been very frustrating for them because they show the home, and what do you think that they do all night long? Well, I'm wondering if they like it. I wonder if they like it. I wonder what they thought. And they sit there, and if they can't find out, they rely on you. So if
Yeah.
us as agents don't communicate to these people, it's just not very professional. And
Mm-hmm.
so yes, I do. I get after every showing, I usually call the agent, or I text the agent when I can. I get, I can do 30 to 40 listings at a time and keep up with it for the most part. A lot of times what I do is when the notice comes up for the showings and I have them on my phone, I'll send a quick text to the agent and say, Carol is standing by at the office right now if you have any questions for your showing. Because that way, when they're walking through and the client says, well, how old's the HVAC unit? And the agent says, well, I don't know. It doesn't say in the listing. The agent knows that they just received a text. They can text me or they can text Carol or text us. It goes to both of us. Hey, how old's the HVAC listing? We can text back 8 years. And then while they're in the home, oh, the HVAC system is 8 years old.
Okay.
And so I like to, that's one of the things that I've learned to do so that it allows other agents, it helps other agents do their job better.
Okay. So that's a part of your value proposition then,
Right.
for
Right.
sure. Now, also, you mentioned your premier full marketing package. Is that what you said? Where now you charge 3.5% and you used to charge
hmm
7%.
hmm
So why did you come down on your price?
Because we no longer have the buyer side on. When we had the buyer side listings in the old days, all my listings were 7% or more.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So you made the change because of the
Yeah.
industry
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Well,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
was an amazing listening presentation. As you all can see, I took plenty of notes, as I always do, because I like having this information in my real estate toolbox. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Is there anyone else who has if you have a question, comment, or feedback for Superstar Alan Smith or Superstar Ron Poindexter? Okay, well, we definitely want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Superstar Alan Smith and Superstar Ron Poindexter for today's listing presentation. And next week, everyone, we will have Superstar Levon Clark, who will be providing his expired listing presentation, and Superstar dun, 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 Dennis DeMeglio will be the seller. So this is for next Friday at 1 p.m. Now we do need a seller for June the 5th. Do we have anyone who would like to volunteer as a seller? It'd be great if we could have someone who hasn't been a seller for a while. Can we have a volunteer seller for Friday, June the 5th for Isis for her listing presentation?
I can do it, Dot.
Who is that?
Halcyon.
Oh, great, 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 great. Fantastic. Let me write that down. So that's for Friday, June the 5th. Okay, great. And now we've got these other dates open in June. Does anyone want to secure a date in June? We've got June the 12th, June the 19th, and June the 26th. Do we have any takers for any of those dates in June?
I would like one, please, to present.
Oh, Halcyon. Okay, great.
Like
Awesome.
maybe maybe the 19th or the 26th, whichever.
Okay, you want me to go ahead and put you down for the 19th?
That's fine.
Okay, fantastic. And what kind of presentation are you going to provide? Is it going to be expired, FISBO, circle prospecting?
Probably probably expired.
Expired and inspired by which coach?
Um Mike Ferry, Jackie Kravitz.
Mike Ferry, Jackie Kravitz combo.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And Halcyon, are you on the email list?
I
Are you?
believe so, yes.
Okay, let me make sure. Let me just make sure. Let me check. Let me check real quick. No, I don't think you are.
I can send you a message in Facebook.
Okay, well
Ron?
actually if you could put your contact, or if you could either text or email me your contact information, and I'm going to put it in the chat how you can text or email me that information, and then you
Okay.
will be on the email list, because that way, I'll be able to send out your contact information to whoever's going to be your seller and vice versa. I'll always send that information out 1 week before your presentation is scheduled. So we have you down for Friday the 19th, providing your expired listing presentation. Do we have a seller for Halcyon for Friday, June the 19th? A seller volunteer for Halcyon? Oh, Jerry. Okay, awesome, Jerry. All right. Superstar Jerry will be the seller for Halcyon on Friday, June the 19th. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. Any other takers? Any other takers for any other dates?
No, but the Ron and Alan are talking about they want to do a for sale by owner presentation. Maybe you should keep them in mind for June.
Well, they're already on the schedule for June, where Ron is going to be presenting and Alan is going to be the seller. Actually, they are on the schedule for May the 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
May the 22nd, and Ron is providing his listing presentation and Alan is the seller. But
Yeah,
that's for an expired, right, Ron?
well, we can do an expired or FISBO. It doesn't matter.
It's up to you.
That's fine. Either way, for sell by owners. You know what? The other day I contacted, I don't know how many. I had to get my contacts up on that boot count. So for sell by owners was my go-to. You don't get the appointment as fast, but you certainly make a lot more contacts on for sale by owners. So yeah, you can go in and nail the for sale by owner.
All
You
right,
just got to contact them a little more sometimes.
okay, so we have you down for Friday, the 22nd, for sale by owner, inspired by Mike Ferry, and Alan, you're the seller for Ron on that date. All right, well, I think that's it for today, everyone. Of course, if you all want to secure another date, you can always text or email me your request, and I will put you on the schedule. The dates do go by pretty quickly, and they're always exciting. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And oh, you all are welcome. Let's prepare to unmute. We're going to unmute, and on the count of 3, we're going to all say, take those listings. So and this is Mother's Day weekend too. So happy Mother's Day to everyone who is taking care of beautiful children around the world. And on the count of 3, let's say, take those listings. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And 1, 2, 3. Take those listings, everyone. Love you all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Take it easy, Alan.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
Hey, Dot, are you gonna have that playbook of your secrets?
So what I'm thinking, right, is as I start looking at these thermostats, and
Am I going to do what, Ronaldo?
Yes, you said that all the notes that you take from all these presentations, I know you take great notes. Are you going to have a playbook, that book for sale on your notes, or that's impossible?
Oh yeah, that's impossible because my notes are scribbles for real.
Wow. Did
Yeah.
you ever had a listing presentation here in this platform?
No, mine is coming on listing presentation number 250. That's when you all will get to see my listing
Oh,
presentation.
wow. And what presentation is this one right now? So see how far out you are.
We just finished listing presentation number 211.
Okay, so you're talking about maybe towards the end of the year
When we get to it,
to it.
Ronaldo.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. This is great. God bless you all. Happy Mother's Day.
All right, thank you. Oh,
Bye now.
Stephanie, are you here? Are you still here, Stephanie? I see your message, Stephanie, if you can hear me. Stephanie. Okay, I'll send you a text message. All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend. And Dennis, we're looking forward to next week. Be on your best behavior, Dennis.
I always on my best behavior. Of course, sometimes my best behavior has people kind of like where I have to celebrate Mother's Day personally because I'm called a mother once in a while.
You are so funny. You're so funny. Well, we're looking forward
We
to next
actually,
week.
I was working with Jesse when we were doing making calls for appointments. I couldn't quite make out what this person was telling me, but it wasn't pleasant as
Oh,
far as the response goes when I'm trying to make the appointment, and it was funny what he said, but I mean I laughed it off, but yeah, that was a Mother's
okay.
Day for him.
Yeah, well, hey, it's the nature of the business and we roll with the punches. That's all.
Yes.
Keep it moving. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to move on and I will see you all soon and take those listings.
Oh, Dot, will you be
Yes.
contacting me a few days before?
I'm going to be contacting you today. I'm going to be sending you over. Oh, let me stop the recording.